Ta-da! There we are. I think. Do we have sound? Yes, I have sound. Oscar? Yes, Oscar has sound.
Yes.
I have sound. Is my camera following me?
Yes, and it seems I've tried to do something again with. Yeah, it is. It's slow, but but it's there. Okay, I'm pretty sure that Edwin will tell us if anything is horribly wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're fine. Welcome everybody to today's 46th, I think, episode of the Grindelwald Bastards on Tuesdays. We almost made it through a full year of weekly shows, which is something we should celebrate probably in 2 or 3 weeks' time. So welcome again. We still don't have a lot of viewers, but we don't care, so that's fine. And
that should be our channel's slogan. We don't
okay, we might change it next year. We have to think about our marketing strategy, and maybe that's it. Yeah.
It's inverse psychology. Once we admit that we don't have many viewers,
I think so.
Millions of them.
Probably. Yes. Yeah. So that's it. Well, the Intermodelbo video has now reached almost 4,000, I think.
It is on 4.1k.
Yeah, we should think about it a little bit more smartly next time we do that, because we could have plugged our channel much more than we did. We didn't plug it at all, really. So anyway, that's the thing. What were you gonna say, Oscar?
We also have now 23, I think, listeners of the
channel. Welcome everybody. Everybody. I don't know. We have, I think, 2 live viewers, one of which is me, and the other one I don't know. But anyway, again, we
the other one.
No,
is me.
It's maybe Oscar. I don't know. Or we. Oh, it's obviously it's Edwin, obviously. Anyway, or I think probably. Again, if people see this live or afterwards, let us know what you think. Is it terrible? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you switch it off after 5 minutes because you can't stand it? I mean, the
internet will never tell you when you're wrong, so don't be afraid.
We won't obviously do anything with your comments, but we want to know them at least. I think it's just, it would be great to have some feedback on that. But let's, without much further ado, we've got a couple of subjects today. One of them is Formula 1. Then we switch over to Formula 1. And after that, if there is time, we do Formula 1, and Formula 1. It's Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula 5. No, anyway. So I think, there is so much to talk about. And I don't even know where to start. First of all, we have to congratulate Max, obviously, but Chris will start. Go your gang.
Yeah,
I was about 3 hours behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it after Paul and Oscar already knew the result, and it was an absolute roller coaster. And I think I managed to get Paul and Oscar's heart rate again.
Yeah,
I was texting them as I was watching the race.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It was crazy. So during the race itself, I really had a higher heart rate than normal.
I was so nervous.
I was standing all the time and shaking, and it was really crazy. And then I finally, after a couple of hours, I somehow settled down again a bit, and then
I started texting.
and then you started in me texting, and then it all
came back
again.
Yeah. It was great and terrible, and it was everything in 2 hours. I mean, it was a complete roller coaster. It was the epitome of the whole season. I mean, everything that has happened throughout the season has compacted to one race. And I mean, all the things.
It was good strategy from Red Bull, and it was bad strategy from Mercedes.
That's a thing. Finally,
I mean, I can understand why Mercedes got so bent out of shape about Michael Massey only letting 5 cars through. I get it. That's not the procedure. The procedure is you let all the cars through. But if it had gone on for another lap or another 2 laps or another 5 laps, Max would have still won because he was on soft tires, and he would have overtaken Lewis because Mercedes messed up their pit strategy under the safety car. They didn't bring Lewis in, or he was just past the pit lane entrance. I can't remember what it was.
I totally agree. I mean, there is so much that you can say about this, and obviously I am with you. I can totally understand the frustration of Lewis fans, of Mercedes, because if it had happened the other way around, we would have probably reacted the same. I can totally get that. But if you try and think about what happened, there are so many factors that played a role in this whole thing that Mercedes cannot just say Marco Masi, fixed this race and Lewis and we lost the championship because of that decision that Michael Masi made. They did in the end, but there's a whole season of things that happened before that, and you cannot just act like that did not happen. I am.
This was almost payback for the whole of the season for everything Toto Wolff has done, trying to bully the FIA. This was almost the FIA's way of saying, you know what? And
that was in Michael Masi telling Toto off that please now you have to shut up. This is motor racing, something in that order. That was his frustration coming out because he had enough with Toto's bullying, and I think that showed through. And if you look at the whole season, I mean we can go into the race and all the parts of it, and we will later on. But thinking about the whole thing. If the weird decisions have been made, decisions that we did not expect or even did not completely understand, that has all happened. But that has happened throughout the season. Look at Silverstone, look at some other races where Max and Red Bull could have had 20, 30, 40 points extra already 5 or 6 races ago. That was all taken from them because of the same sort of weird decision that happened in the last race. So if that did not happen, and the last race, the weird decisions did not happen, Max would have won and would have been world champion already 5 races ago. So that did not happen because of all kinds of other weird decisions that were made by FIA. And I'm not even talking about whether they were right or wrong in that. I think a lot of times they were wrong and it was against Red Bull for some reason. We talked about that last week. But it happened. And now one time, or maybe the second time in the whole season, something fell Max's way. And now, because of that, he has won the world championship. And now Mercedes is all bent like this is unfair and how can you do that? That's not how you should look at it. You should look at the whole season. And if you look at the whole season, Max is deservedly...
Look at the number of times that
Max deserves to be world champion. And Lewis did a great job. And that's why the season was so great. Because they had a good fight. And that's it. And I think, in the end, Lewis is even more... relax is not the word, but is even more like, okay, this is how it is, let's move on. I think pretty quickly he was like that. Obviously, he wants to say that, Max is playing not by the rule book, and that's all a bit edgy, but I can understand that. He's totally disappointed in him losing at the end. But in the end, I think...
I mean, the biggest thing that got highlighted was the inconsistency.
Yeah.
They didn't apply the same rules to everyone in every race.
True. And Lewis sort of settled down. His father settled down. Everybody said, okay, we don't understand it. It's crazy, but it's a fact. And we move on. Next year is another year. I think Lewis can still, battle next year or the year after. So it's not over for Lewis. He can still have an 8-time championship. He can still fight for that. So for Lewis, it's not over.
Lewis's problem next year.
No, it's going to Russell.
Lewis's problem.
I know. Yeah, let's see how that all plays out.
Because Mercedes are not going to take kindly to the fact their second driver is going to start outperforming.
I think that's going to be and hopefully that battle within Mercedes is going to make them weaker, and maybe Red Bull or Ferrari or whatever can take advantage of that.
I mean, thing that really turned me against Lewis this season was Silverstone. And it wasn't so much that he hospitalized Max, it was his reaction after the race. As if nothing had happened. I'm like, that your championship contender is in hospital and you're celebrating like nothing happened.
I agree.
And that's his true color. That's Lewis's true nature.
I agree. The rest is actor.
He's vindictive. He doesn't really seem to care about anyone else. I mean, when you listen to him on the radio with Bono and with the team, I don't know how they put up with him.
No,
you know, when you listen to Max on the radio, when the decision came down to, you know, they're not going to give the place back, you know, on the radio, Max was like, of course, because it's me. And then he just got on with it. You know, he didn't complain. He didn't whinge. He just was like, obviously. Yeah. Say hello to Mike.
Well, things like that. Well, that's the whole, you know, I agree. And then talking about Toto, I mean, he totally lost it. And he has done that over the last couple of races. He cannot stand losing, but that's a typical German-Austrian way of thinking. They cannot handle losing. That's why they win normally, because they are so... they do so not want to lose that's why they're so good most of the time. I have to hand them that, obviously. But if they do lose, they never cope with that very well. You know, there's always foul play, or there's always reasons why they should have won normally, and they only didn't win because of, you know, some things. It's not them. And Toto has harmed the...
because of the race. He's now going to go and
probably. Yeah, just because he's angry. Yeah. Now, I think, you know, I think actually, and I heard, I think in a program I saw yesterday, they explained it a little bit more. I'm thinking Mercedes brand is being damaged by Toto because of his, you know, childish way of doing things.
There is
that, but then again, I mean, and now they have these legal things. What about Mercedes team brought a lawyer to Abu Dhabi just before anything happened? I mean, that tells you something, you know. They're not racing, they're just playing it on another level, and they've done so all season. They are the cause that the pit stop strategy with the little machines and everything had to change. That's why Red Bull had a lot of problems also. They are playing unfair on another level. It's not about motor racing. And Masi, I think he put the nail on he hit the nail on the head. They're not motor racing. They are legally battling decisions and looking for loopholes. So it's not a motor racing team. It's a legal team, and that has shown through everything. And that's why they said we.
I mean, Red Bull do seem to have been more level-headed. I mean, the stuff you see of Christian Horner and the radio messages and the interviews that they have, Christian Horner seems to always be more matter of fact.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't let Toto get away with anything, but he also doesn't really lose his temper.
No.
And it just seems like it's like the tortoise and the hare. It's like Red Bull this year with the tortoise, and they got on with it. They protested where they could, you know. They raced. They made good strategy, and in the end, it just I can't believe the entire championship came down to one lap.
But I mean,
that was crazy.
What I really liked was that I think it was Horner who said, "Well, Mercedes is bringing lawyers to the track, and we just bring brilliant
drivers,
drivers and
people
who work on the car."
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. I think that's so different in those teams, and I think, and of course you can. Of course you can say Mercedes has been winning races for so many years. Who can blame them? How they do that? They have found a way to build strong cars and do everything. But at the moment where their cars weren't absolutely the strongest anymore, not like the margin that they had the years before, they started to sort of throw mud around and panicking and playing dirty games. And what's really, I mean, the thing that really annoys me is that a lot of people are saying are blaming Max for being unfair and conniving and not up front and everything. But it's exactly the other way around. I think Max is Max, and he just says it how it is, and it fits Red Bull because they are more or like the same. I mean, I love the brilliant remark that Max said, "Guys, can we please do this for another 10 or 15 years?" When he was Max. Is so happy with the way things are going with Red Bull, and Max knows that things happen. Max knows that because he suffered from that too. That a safety car near the end of the race can just throw around everything, and you can drive a good race. Safety car comes in, you lose the race. I mean, that's just the way it is, and Mercedes should not complain about that because that's just the way racing is. And unfortunately for them, it happened in this.
But for Toto Wolff to get on the radio to Michael Massey and say, please don't put a safety car out.
It's all...
Yeah.
There's a car in the middle of the track with marshals and cranes around it.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Race at speed? No, you have to have a safety car.
It's completely... when you look at the race... Yeah.
So did you hear the conspiracy around all of
Oh, I heard a lot of conspiracies. What one are you talking about?
Yeah.
So about 15 laps before the end, Mercedes went on the radio to Lewis and they said, so if there's a safety car, which tyres do you want?
Yeah.
Which was very leading because Paula and I both looked at each other and went, why would you ask that?
Yeah.
And then, 10 laps later, Giovinazzi stops it into the wall and you're like, was this part of Mercedes' plan? Did they pay Giovinazzi a suitcase full of cash and say, crash on the 5th lap to the end? It'll bring the safety car out and we'll finish under the safety car.
Yeah, Latifi was,
I mean, that's like a 1% chance of being true, but it's just funny how you join the dots on these things and you're like, why did they ask that? And then suddenly...
It is very strange because I have never heard something like that. It was very weird to me, that whole radio. And maybe they have done it before, but they've never broadcasted it. So why? I mean, you're exactly right. It is weird. There are so many other things you can say. You can, and some of them are more believable than others. Obviously, some people say Schumacher tried to cause a problem to prevent his dad from losing his record of 8 world championships. That's all, I don't believe any of that. But there are so many things you can say. But what you're saying, it might actually be something, and that might be why Toto is so angry because he forced that game. He forced that game to win, and he lost, and that's why maybe he's so angry.
And there's precedent for this. Do you remember in Singapore, 2014 or 15?
Somebody deliberately cuts.
Where I can't remember the driver, but Renault had one of their drivers crash in the tunnel to try and force the race.
Oh, it does happen. I mean, the stakes are so high. I'm sure these things happen.
On the other hand, it was strange that they were in front, and Max was never going to get Lewis.
No.
So
that's also true. But maybe they didn't know that. Maybe this plan was already hatched before that, and they couldn't change it. It's all.
Or they saw that his tires were really gone.
Yeah.
And knew
and they were afraid of a puncture. Yeah, there is a lot going for this theory.
I mean, the problem was that, like I said at the beginning, it was the Mercedes strategy. They left Lewis out too long.
Yeah.
Checo should have been driver of the day because he did an absolutely amazing job. And I'll talk about him in a second. But when the safety car finally did come out, and Red Bull instantly said, box. And I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if Lewis was just past the pit lane entry or if Mercedes didn't think it was going to go to a race. But they didn't bring Lewis in and didn't change his tires. So no matter what happened then, if there was any race condition after that, Lewis lost. Yeah.
Well,
because he was on 45 lap old hard tires and Max was on brand new soft tires.
Yeah.
And there was just no way that wasn't going to be an overtake.
I really think, but that's what they say is it's the problem when you are the first one on the track, because he was already past the pit entrance, and then Red Bull had 10 seconds to decide what to do with Max. And they would lose anyhow.
And they had nothing to lose, so it was like, screw it, bring him into the pits.
Yeah, but what I really think, I really think at the end Mercedes threw it away themselves, because they were.
I think they did.
Twice they said no, we keep you out because of track position.
Yeah.
And they were for sure by far the quickest car on the track.
So that wouldn't have been a problem.
Even
I think that's right. I think they threw it
Yeah.
away. And I think that's why Toto is so angry, because he now knows the strategy was what
he knows that he is to blame. And he can't handle that. I mean, he is to blame. And if any of the conspiracy theories that might have happened are true, it's even more so, because he's probably the one that pushed that. And I'm sure that a lot of people within the team or whatever are saying, you don't want to do that. And he's probably the one that said, yes, we need to do it. We need to win this. And if then everything goes tits up, I mean, he feels really, really bad, obviously. So I don't know what's happening now. They're still in appeal. They can go to 2 other things. I mean, they haven't dropped. I mean, the first ones were sort of dismissed, and now they went into another form of appeal, I think. But on Thursday, is that tomorrow or no, day after tomorrow? I think the actual crowning of the world champion will happen. This is a farce. It's stupid. And then I think, okay, who within? I mean, Mercedes team is owned by Toto, Mercedes, and Ineos, the chemical company. All equal, I think. So Toto obviously wants to fight this until he dies. He's not going to back off, and he wants to take this to whatever court he can. Mercedes, I don't think they want that, because it hurts their brand, I would think, to even do that. They don't want that. Ineos, the chemical team, they should have a voice in this, and I do not think that they would want that too. So now I think Toto is
it's dragging their money through the mud.
So I think Toto is now just the lone ranger trying to fight his personal fight, his personal vindictive feelings against the whole thing. And that is because he thought he was the king. He thought he was the king of Formula One. He had everyone around his fingers.
I could understand this if this was the first championship they lost. But they have 8 world championships.
True, but this is the first where Toto is third part of the team. Toto has bought or received or whatever, he is 1/3 owner of the team, and I think that made him a bit crazy in the head. He was a little bit power hungry, and he thought he was gonna do things his way, and that's why they were good and they were like that a long time, but this year was crazy. What Mercedes did this year was just it was crazy, and that's because of Toto. So Toto's personal loss and his personal feeling of defeat is what has brought this all about, I think. It's
so. Let's talk about Checo.
Yeah, When
they radioed Checo and said hold him up, and I thought, how are you going to hold Lewis up? His car is so much faster.
Yeah.
And then it just got embroiled in pass after pass after pass, in corner after corner after corner, and I thought, if that was the strategy to hold him up, that was brilliant, because that didn't look like he was holding him up. That looked like he was genuinely racing Lewis.
Yeah, I agree.
And all the time that those two were arguing on the track, Max was just catching up and catching up.
I think 8 seconds.
And then they had to retire Checo at the end. They didn't say why. But Max said, right at the end, he said, I wouldn't have been close enough for this to work if Checo hadn't done what he did.
Yeah, Checo, well...
And I just thought he drove so brilliantly. The fact that Lewis passed him, and then he passed him almost straight away, and then blocked him for 3 corners. Yeah,
I loved it.
Before Lewis was finally able to get past, I thought, this is brilliant.
It was brilliant. First of all, we have been critical about Perez, and maybe rightfully so, in a couple of races, but he has done more than enough to make that all work.
I've always
I like him as a person.
I liked him
he did of course a splendid job this last race, but if he would have done what Bottas was for Lewis, then again Max was already champion, and they would have won the constructors championship as well.
I agree.
So I think at the end he had a terrible year, and of course he did a great job this Sunday, but it doesn't. No. For me, it's not that now his complete year is.
I agree, but what I'm saying is that no, I agree with that. I mean, it's true. I like him, and I like the way he is. He's trying, and I really think he tries, but he doesn't have the quality to do an overall good job, I think. And he's under the pressure that he wants to be the Bottas to Max, but he can't drive as fast, so it's frustrating. I can all understand that. But what he did this race was showing that he's a real racer. He is a real racer, and I like that. I see that in Sainz. I mean, let's talk about Sainz. I mean, I like Sainz because I think he's a great guy, and he is always very stable, and he keeps delivering, and I think he might be one of the great drivers the next 1 or 2 years, because he is I think I like the way that he is, and he's also a real driver, you know, and he might be a better driver than Perez is, but I don't know if he had done that battle as good as Perez did, because Perez, it was just like a street fight, you know. It was like I mean, it was great to see, and I loved that he did that, and it's unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen somebody holding up somebody so well. It was just amazing, as what Chris is saying. I mean, it was amazing, and and then obviously, I mean, if you look at the race, it started out, and I was already afraid that you know, sometimes you see that the number 2 is faster off the grid than number 1. That happened. So that it was not ideal, but I did not think that would be the biggest problem. It became a problem when you saw that Max just could not, even on his red tires, could not catch up to. No, and that's where I thought, okay, this is it. This is lost now. Which it would have been if all the other drama didn't happen, you know. So they were just not fast enough on this circuit. Then you can talk about another conspiracy theory that Mercedes have tried to change circuits to make them more Mercedes-like, because this circuit has changed into Mercedes advantage a lot. So there's another conspiracy theory, but anyway. So then I think, and then of course we all like, okay, we have to accept that this is not going to happen. Well, we all like Max. He did a great season. Maybe next year. We were all sort of like, okay, this has happened, but it's fair and square.
I was starting to do about 18 laps from the end, I was starting to look at Lewis's tires, and you could see in my text, I was like, he's never going to make it to the end of the race. He has to pit, and the instant he pits, he's lost.
But he was not planning to pit, so.
And then it started to go further and further into the race. I'm like, no, he's not going to pit. He's going to try and drive them until they're bald, in which case Max is going to be second. And then the safety car came out, and I saw Max go into the pits and Lewis didn't, and I'm like, oh my god. If it never occurred to me that the safety car rules wouldn't be applied, and I thought when they let the lap traffic through, Max is going to be right behind him and he's going to pass him. Now, the contentious issue is they didn't let all of the lap traffic through. And that's why I can understand Mercedes are upset with that. But like Michael Massey said, we went motor racing.
I think what happened here, and I think that's what I think that Michael Massey has tried all season long to make the right call, to not make this a judge decision penalty thing, but to keep the race going, but fair. Maybe he did not succeed in that, because in our eyes he did a lot of unfair decisions, but I still think that his mindset was exactly what he did during the last race. And that's also with the 1 or 2 laps they did after the red flag in, where was it, Baku or whatever? No, not Baku. Anyway, he tries to let them race. And what Michael was trying to do, and you could hear that when in one of his last conversations with Red Bull, is that Red Bull was saying, why don't we let the cars pass? This is weird. Oh, and he's like. He's like, he's like, don't do this. I'm working on it, but I can't say it.
Yeah, I'm feeling.
Yeah. So, and I think because it was a very stressful situation because the time was ticking and could they get? And if you look at the guys that took away that car and the marshals, it was like, if a lot of those marshals were Mercedes fans, they would have done it slowly. I don't know, but there could have been.
They were working
pretty quickly, and Michael wanted to finish the race not under a safety car, which I can fully understand. And then you come to the crux of the matter. I think the race director is actually directing the race, so he makes sure whatever he says that he thinks is good for the race, he will do that, and he can then go by rules. Just because he thinks there's a bigger interest into doing that. And obviously, one of the interests is money and entertainment value. And they need to have Formula One be...
Oh, we got entertainment.
Well, so he succeeded. He succeeded in that. And I think that's just what he wanted to do. And, what would have been another... What are the alternatives? Alternative one is not let any of the cars pass. That would have caused a lot of issues. There was no time to let all the cars pass, so that was just a no-no. Finishing under the safety car was also no-no. He didn't want to do that. So out of all these options, this was the only sort of viable option that he had. And the only way, the only reason why Max could take advantage of that is because of Red Bull's strategy. And if they had not done that, if they had given up, if they had just leave him out, he would not have been world champion. So
that's what Mercedes overlook, is the fact that if Max had stayed out on his tires, he wouldn't, even the way it finished, he wouldn't have been able to overtake Lewis. And they would have probably run into each other in a corner, and it would have ended with Max winning anyway because he has more race wins.
Yeah.
The strategy. The thing that really ruined it for Mercedes was their strategy. They left Lewis out too long because they were desperate for track position. I'm like, your car is so fast, you can get track position back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you not know this? Put him on fresher tires, and he'll take track position back. But they screwed it first time round. Then they screwed it under the safety car. And then everything went Max's way in the last lap, and it's like this became inevitable because of the
well, if Latifi
don't see it like that.
If Latifi hadn't crashed, Lewis would have been world championship. That's the whole thing. But this has happened a lot of times during races, but also championships have been decided in this kind of matter. That's just what Formula One and motor racing is about, and that's what Michael Masi was saying.
And Latifi crashed in the corner that everyone said there would be a crash at. Because crashes there in free practice 1, 2, and 3, and in qualifying.
I'm now just thinking of Albon is going to Williams. So
another conspiracy theory. Yeah. Albon was, by the way, he was losing his mind when. Did you hear him on the radio? He was the first.
No.
He's just outside himself. He was when Max won. His mic was open. And he was just screaming, jumping up and down. He was so ecstatically happy. That was also something I really loved. And that's and Max was crying. Max was crying in his car, on his wheel, with his dad. Yeah. Let's be honest. If Lewis would have won this, it would have been, it was really tough this year, but I have to thank the fans, and we have this non-interesting bullshit, and it wouldn't have had any emotional value at all. Now we had all the emotion, and not just because it's Max and he's a Dutchman and we all want him to win. Everybody in the world would agree that this whole thing, the way it played out, was very, very entertaining and emotional, and got people on the edge of their seat. I mean, I'm not a sports fan, but I'm so invested in this that it's bad for my heart now.
That's the thing. It's like I've never really been a rabid sports fan.
No.
You know, I used to watch things. I'd be like, yeah, I like Max, or I like Lewis, or I like Vettel. You know, and I would sort of armchair criticize them, but I'd never get properly worked up about it. And like at the end of the race, after he finished, I was trying to hold a drink, and I was like this. I was like, I
had the same.
I can't.
I had exactly the same. I was.
And I don't know why. I'm like, this isn't me. I'm not normally this invested in sports. Why
exactly the same. My heart was racing and pounding, and I was trembling. And during this last round, I was very quiet because I did not dare to think. No, because I was every corner I was thinking he can go off. Every corner I think this isn't over yet. You know, I did not believe it, and I could not be happy at that point in time. And
I was watching Lewis's tires in all the slow-mos, trying to find patches on the tires and stuff that was wearing out. And, you know, and the thing that I really liked after the race was finished, I mean, one thing I noticed was Lewis didn't take his car into P2 on the Parc Fermé. He just put it in the pits. But then, you know, after Lewis spoke to his dad and was going up to the podium, I noticed that both Max and Jos Verstappen hugged Lewis's dad. Yeah. You know, and I thought it's stuff like that would not have happened the other way around. I don't imagine that Lewis's dad would have gone and found the Red Bull pits and given everyone a handshake and a hug. I just
this is exactly what the British say is the other way around. The British say Lewis and his dad handled this so well and with so much dignity that Max would have never done that. It's exactly the other way around what the Brits are saying, or Lewis fans, but mostly they're UK people. I mean, and I don't know. You know, I don't know. I believe.
I don't know. Go back and look at the end of the season last year.
Oh yeah. But that wasn't so close. You know, this. I mean, okay. I believe that it wouldn't have happened the other way around. I do not think that Lewis's dad would have hugged Jos because of the. I don't think so. But it's very difficult to.
Now, can we talk about Jos Verstappen, who left the race halfway through because he was so scared?
Like we all wanted to do. I mean, he was us. He was us.
I mean, we all had a remote control. We could have all turned
he was us. He was just the same.
But we didn't turn it off.
We kept watching. Like chastising.
It was like a slow-mo.
A slow-mo train wreck. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah, exactly. And we were okay. And I was trying to build a shield around myself, saying, well, you know, okay, it's lost, but you know, this is the way it is. Well, Lewis, you know, is now the quicker car. You know, they were so close, and I was sort of trying to make excuses to not be completely broken down, to not be upset, and then everything turned around again, and I was like, oh, okay, this is happening. It's.
I mean, when I was texting you, and one of the texts that you sent me back was
dot.
And I'm like, the inclination or the hidden subtext of dot is that Max is going to win. And I sat looking at the race. I'm like, he can't win.
That was, you know how,
and then Latifi stuffed it into the barrier, and I was,
how that was one of the worst things. You were watching this, and I already knew, and you were all worked up and texting me, and I was like, what am I gonna say? You know, I can't do anything. Dot.
I did make all kinds of text and then threw them away again because I thought, oh, this is going to hint to this or to hint to that. Yeah, so I thought, well,
not react is the best.
React to it.
That was the most loaded text message I've ever had. Dot.
I know. Yeah, it was crazy. And then Jos, obviously talking about Jos after he got away and then come back, he was totally white. And he wasn't. I mean, one of the races he had to go to hospital. There was some sort of thing, and I was really thinking he's getting a heart attack. He is not well, because he was white as a sheet. And he was looking all grim, like, and I was, oh my God. And then he walked away, and I think he probably, I don't know what he shot, but it's the stress and the complete,
What was funny was right at the end when they had the, before the podium ceremony, when they had the aerial view of the cars in Parc Fermé, and it said World Championship Max Verstappen with his signature on the ground. Mm-hmm. The Sky commentary team went, wow, they changed that pretty quickly, because 5 laps ago, that said Lewis Hamilton. So they'd already prepared Parc Fermé for Lewis Hamilton, and then in 1 lap, it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Can you imagine what can you prepare? You never know.
Change all the graphics.
But if you need to prepare something, should I just put Lewis on there? Well, wait a couple of rounds, and then halfway through, put it on there. It's gonna happen, and it didn't, and I had to turn it around again. But that's motor racing.
And Jos was prepared with his hoodie. I mean, with his Max World Championship hoodie. I'm like, I'm glad he got to wear it, because that would have been. Yeah,
terrible. Yeah. Well, Jack Ploy, the pit reporter of Ziggo, he was in a program. He was saying, I was halfway through the race. I was only thinking, what am I gonna ask and how am I gonna talk to Max if he lost this? How am I even gonna, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do talking to Max after the race with this sort of total, not winning it, and then everything turned around and he still didn't know what to say really, because everything turned around again. You know what I liked? And you see so many things coming now. The F1 Nation team with Natalie Pinkham. Yeah. And Natalie Pinkham is a real race fan, and I do like, although she might be critical, but she's always sort of correct in what she's saying. She's not. Yeah. I think she's one of the most balanced and diplomatic. And I think she is like that. I don't think it's a role. And with Damon Hill, he's a total asshole. I really hate Damon Hill. And the other guy is okay, but Natalie is really great. And a couple of things happened. First of all, in that interview where Max said, I'm going to win this, which was great. And he wouldn't have said that to anybody else, I think. So that was a great interaction between Natalie and Max. And then she put some stuff on Instagram, which I think was very good. And also very well balanced. Like, really, congratulations to the new world champion. Great season, great drive. And there was a picture of her and Max on a bridge or something. And then she said, and also, we have to, not pay our respect, but we have to be, thankful of Lewis, who lost the race in the last moment. And that was all very, very well done, I think. And then all the comments, obviously, like, this is a total farce and Formula One is dead to me, and, that whole thing. But that was not what she meant. And I thought that was really strong. And the last thing that I saw, which really sort of almost broke my heart, is that the pit reporters were all in a room near the end of the race watching screens. And Natalie was there, Jack was there, and Jack was all like, oh, he was all like, what's happening here? And Natalie was just looking at him and saying, oh, and she was hugging him and just so she understood exactly what was happening, and she was so happy for Jack, and she saw that was really moving him. And she really scored a lot of points during the season, but especially also during the last race. I think she is a brilliant reporter. And there are not many, I think, like her. So I was trying to react to one of her Instagrams, and then it's one of these things where you just have a whole story, and you want to encompass everything, and you change it around 6 times. You think, is this really what I want to say? And then I wanted to.
And then you delete the hard.
Hard.
Yeah, hard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I still think I want to try and write something that encompasses the whole thing, and it's difficult, but I might still do it. To put it somewhere. I don't know. I feel like I have to. do something with that. But anyway, so that was also a very good thing I saw. And for the rest, we will just have to see what happens, how this soap will continue. Russell was very well. First of all, Russell hasn't done any good races since he knew that he's going to Mercedes. So I don't know if, well, we'll see if he's that good, because he really underperformed over the last races. Second of all, he was very critical and very negative about the whole situation and the reason. And obviously he's going to Mercedes, so maybe he has to do it. But if he already is like that now, that he is just now already totally forgetting who he is and totally under the influence of Toto and Mercedes, he's gonna be, just as bad as Toto or Lewis, and he's just gonna be one of those guys. And hopefully it will be a new Rosberg who just stresses Lewis so much that they will, have the problems that Lewis and Max had this year, and that Max can just take advantage of that. I really hope that it does. But Russell, I liked Russell, but I'm starting to not like him.
Yeah.
He has to play the corporate game at some point, but I don't think it's going to change his character.
No, maybe not. Well, let's see. I mean, next year, everything's...
I'm interested more in next year now, because not only do you have the wild card of everyone's getting new cars, Red Bull don't have Honda engines next year.
I know.
And those engines have been really good this
I think
year.
what I think is that they do have Honda engines. Honda and Japanese, and I sort of like that, to be honest. What the Japanese do is that they're very precise and they want to do a good job, and it's like their honor to make things happen, and they will do anything in their power to do it, and they will do it according to plan. So they will not jump ahead. If they say it'll take 5 years, it'll take exactly 5 years, and then they will reach their goal at exactly 5 years, because that's what they said they were going to do. And if they say after that we will just retreat out of Formula One because of all kinds of reasons, they will do that, and they will not be tempted to stay or do anything like that. On the other hand, there is nothing against them doing the same thing, but not under the Honda name, and just.
That's what I think so too. Happen. I think they've got at least 2 years of technical agreement with Red Bull for the. I'm
sure the same team is just now under a different company name or whatever doing their engines.
If you see the same Japanese guys at races next year,
I know, and that's I'm pretty sure that's gonna happen, which is good, obviously, because I like Japanese brands. That's just something, and I do like Honda. I had a couple of Hondas, and I really like that brand. So for me, it's like an extra bonus, because it's like really one of the brands that I love, and it's good to see that they're doing such a good job. And then I saw the list, and I didn't even know that, but Nelson Piquet was the first. So now, Max's dad-in-law, father-in-law was the first champion. Then a couple of Prosts, couple of Sennas, and one other, and then Max, I think. And it's just, looking at that heritage is pretty cool, actually. That Max now is that guy that did another Honda win. And in Japan, he's just like the king, and it's so cool. I also like the Honda motor guy that was always there, and how he cried when they had their first win, and that is, to me, is exactly what it's all about. They are so invested in that, passionate about it, and that's different from what Mercedes is doing. It's also different from what Ferrari is doing, because Ferrari over the last couple of years has also become not passionate. They have made a lot of mistakes and stupid things, and they have lost their Ferrari feeling, and they should probably bring that back. I think McLaren is more like Ferrari as Ferrari at this point in time. You'd like to see this.
The one change I want to see above everything else next year is I want to see them fire Gary Conlon.
Yes, please, let's do that. Let's get a petition, and
because if you go back just through the numbers, every time he's involved, when he's involved in the stewards team, 4 times out of 5 penalties are handed out to Max. When he's not involved in the stewards team, 8 times out of 30, so 4 out of 15 are handed to Max. So Max is 3 times more likely to get a bullshit penalty when Connolly is in the stewards room than when he's not. And I was absolutely convinced that was what happened at the beginning of the race when, you know, Lewis went wide and Max stayed in the white lines. And then suddenly he didn't have to give the place back. And I thought, how the hell does this work? And then the Sky commentary team said, you know, Gary Connolly is on the stewards team, and we just went, well, that's it. Lewis is going to win now because Connolly will not let Max win.
True, and I think it's even been sort of proved that Connolly hates Max because last year he wasn't even.
Since 2000.
Yeah, he wasn't even trying to make a secret out of that, and he was openly. You know, criticizing him, which is another thing.
Yeah, he's open hostile towards Max, and I don't understand why. So
I would think so too. Yeah. And now they're saying, and I'm not sure. They're saying, should we protect the stewards, but Michael Masi, because now this is the first year I think that there's so much communication that's being broadcasted between the teams and everything, and we can hear all that. And obviously, I mean, Michael Masi should probably get a bodyguard now. Because there are so many people that hate him and also people that love him, obviously. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. That's another thing. What should they keep that open like it is now, or should they just close that down again and not have all that discussion there? I would be okay with keeping it open.
But they need to be consistent.
Yeah.
You know, if they set a precedent early in the season, even if it's wrong, stick to it.
Yeah.
If you're going to let people go wide in corners and gain an advantage and not penalize them for it, stick to it. It's wrong, but you better make that rule.
You know what might have happened? I mean, Charlie Whiting was more like that, I think. And I think when that changed, they criticized that. They said, but Charlie was so stubborn and he was so stuck to his ways and he didn't have any room for, you know, he was always playing by the rule book, not always a good thing, blah de blah. And
the races were a lot
and
more
maybe
consistent.
it's true, but they probably, I think they criticized that and wanted something different. And then there's Michael Masi, he does something different. Obviously he criticized that because that's not the way to go. And I don't know what the best way is, but sticking to what you've decided earlier is probably a good thing. Because now it's all over the place, and people will say you're against or in favor of somebody just because of that.
Yeah, but they should, I think, completely change maybe the tracks or the rules. So you have 2 white lines, and you need to stay between the 2 white lines. And whenever you go out of the 2 lines, you get a 10-second penalty or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's very clear where.
The thing is, playing the devil's advocate now. If somebody tries to, like in computer games, just torpedo a corner, and just a corner that you really cannot make because you're completely out of the line, but you're quicker because you're going on the inside, then you either have a collision, or the car on the outside tries to prevent the collision and goes outside the track, which is what Hamilton did, I think, during what happened that first corner. What are you going to do? You cannot punish Hamilton for that, to be completely honest, because he was just avoiding a hit. Max was, I think, you know, in retrospect, I might even understand what they did there, because Max was in a totally, you know, he was just trying to get in front of Lewis without even being able to make that corner, which Hamilton has done the same.
They said that Hamilton should give back the advantage, and that
no, I agree.
No, that
it's like okay,
I agree.
He was off the track. Okay, I understand that, like what you're saying, but he went from being 1 second ahead to being 3 seconds ahead. At the very least, they could have forced him to drop back.
Luckily, he was.
I mean, we all know it wouldn't have made a difference because Mercedes are faster. But the point is, it was inconsistent.
I agree. and that's
and that's been the problem all season. Is that it's been one rule for Lewis and one for everyone else.
And that's and we are seeing it like it was against Max, and some of the Lewis fans are saying it was the other way around. That Max has been. I mean, we're saying that Lewis and Mercedes has been. I know, but. You know how these things can change the way you look at it. But I mean, we are totally biased. I know that. But at least at least we're trying to figure out a little bit. You know, there's a fine line, and some of these things. I mean, bottom line. I am totally, and I'm not. It's not because I'm just a Max fan or whatever. I do feel that all the decisions have played a too big a role in the whole season, and it has played a big role. 90%, 80%. These decisions were weird and a disadvantage to Red Bull or Max, and that has gone on throughout the year. In one or two cases, it has been the advantage of Max and Red Bull. And one of those cases was in the last 2 laps of the last race. And that makes it such a big fuss. Because that's the only reason why now everybody is so pissed off. But this is a combination of the whole season.
Yeah, everything that was wrong with the season came down to that last lap.
Yeah. But speaking about the last lap, I also think that the corner where Max took over Lewis, he left the door open. I think it was badly driven by Lewis, actually.
And that's because his tyres were going off.
Probably.
Once Max passed him, you saw how fast he fell back.
Yeah. Well, no, not even true. I think there were 3 or 4 corners where Lewis was really pushing and next to Max again. So I really think where Max made the move, Lewis was far too wide in the corner.
And you know what the brilliant part of it was? Max passed Lewis on one of the corners that Mercedes had changed.
Yeah.
I know. That is so funny.
Oh my God! I thought about that afterwards and it made me laugh. I'm like, this is one of the corners that they had reprofiled to be beneficial to Mercedes, and that's lost the championship. Maybe that's why.
Exactly. I was just gonna say another vessel popped in Toto's head. Yeah. It's a total disaster for Toto.
God, I hope next season isn't like this season. I can't handle another season like this.
No, it's not a good thing. No, I agree.
I mean, I like the fact that it came down to the last race. I'm not so good at the fact that it came down to the last lap, but the Formula One seasons where Lewis wins 5 races from the end, I just think it's complete bullshit. You shouldn't be. No. That's just wrong, because then why would he race for the last 5 races? He's got no point in even going to the track.
No.
You know, but to have it come down to the very end like that, I'm like, I knew it was going to be a stressful race.
No, it was absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, Max is a world champion with all the controversy around it. You can't get around that. And that's a brilliant thing. We hoped it would happen. There were times we thought it would happen. There were times we thought it would never happen. But in the end, it happened. And I think we have to be very happy with that.
I would have liked it to have
yes,
happened in a
me
different
too,
way.
and I think everybody would have liked that, because now there's controversy around it, and some people will not think that he's the real world champion, and there's all that, which is not ideal. But
those are the same people that Donald Trump is still president.
Well, I'm also still not sure if there's really a big fuss about it, because it's. Mercedes has the right to say to go to court, and then they get the rules already twice now that they have no case. So it's fine.
It's just that we can't go to the UK anymore.
Well,
that ship already sailed when they left. Yeah, this is what you get if you leave the EU. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I found that out when I came over to Holland a month or so ago. I stood in the EU line and got to the front, and the automatic gate went, "You're not in the EU anymore. You have to go and stand in the English line."
Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, one good thing is that we have talked about Formula One, throughout all our shows, almost every show. We should probably make a compilation out of it with things.
What are we going to talk about?
I don't know. We're
as long as it doesn't matter if only there's intermodelbouw.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's do a special show on the intermodelbouw and see if that.
An intermodelbouw retrospective.
Yeah.
We will think of something.
Well, we also need to start to find some crowdfunding or whatsoever to even be able to watch F1 next season.
Yeah.
Because I somehow, in the Netherlands, I now need to start to pay 15 euros a month if I want to keep on seeing it, and I'm not sure.
No, I'm not going to do that. What we can do is do, crowdfunding and do one subscription and share it or whatever, but I don't think I'm even going to do that. To be honest, I think this is total bullshit, and I don't like the way that they're taking away all kinds of television things and make it all.
Is this Ziggo that's doing this, or is this F1?
No, it's F1. F1 is doing it because they're selling the rights to do the live broadcasting, and to the highest bidder. And the highest bidder was 35 million, I think. Viaplay or something, the Scandinavian company bought the rights, and Ziggo was a lower bidder, so they lost it to another. So it's not going to be on Ziggo, and we have a Ziggo subscription, but we can't. They do the after, the shows they do now in the cafe. They still do that, but you can't watch the race. So I am pretty sure something will happen, and somebody will come up with something because.
Can you watch the race not live? Do they?
Yeah, they can do that. But what I think will happen, mark my words, I think somebody will find a way to sync a Dutch commentary, podcast, Spotify, whatever, to the BBC or whatever, and you can and it's synced so that you can watch Germany or BBC and then have the Dutch commentary on it.
But it's Sky in England now. It's Sky F1, not BBC.
Yeah, but the problem is, I think even in Germany and the UK, it's also behind paid channels. So we cannot just not see F1 because otherwise
in the UK it's on Sky, which is paid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I would even not care to have British commentary or German.
No, me neither. It
doesn't matter.
Okay.
So, but it's just not visible on the telly, I think. So what we need to do is that Chris puts on a live stream for us.
Yeah. I'll stream the American stream of the English.
Well, we can do it like this, We can just have a camera on your television, and just the three of us below it, and just watch it all together.
I would say this: if it's going to be subscription next year, watch very carefully for offers, because very often what they'll do is like way before the beginning of the season, they'll do like if you buy it now, 50% off.
Just to make.
And if you wait until the season starts, then it's full price.
Well, we'll look at it. It's more. I'm not sure. I right now I have a feeling that I'm not going to do it just out of the principle of it, and I'm not going to keep paying hundreds of extra euros to watch. I mean, the same with Netflix. Disney was on Netflix. Now you have to have Netflix and Disney as a separate subscription. Then you had some other things are gone, and now you have to have Prime Video. And then on Prime Video, some movies like bloody Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation, you have to buy it. It's nowhere. It's not on Netflix. It's not on Disney. It is on Prime.
That's why I still have DVDs.
And I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever because I don't want to. It's such an epic movie that I just want to have a copy of it, and I'm gonna watch it so many times. It's worth it to just buy the Blu-ray or the DVD. So I'm probably gonna do that.
Streaming's very good until they put the price up and decide that they don't want you to watch a movie.
Exactly, and that's where everything's going. What I heard is that that's a stupid thing, and it's the same way. One of the non-active Grindelwald bastards bought an Aldi with I think it was Google Maps, and after a couple of years, that didn't work anymore, and they also cannot fix it anymore, and it's gone. So all these subscription things are terrible because you never know when it stops, and if it stops, well, then you're fucked. So and that's with that. I've heard Toyota has key fobs where you can start and open your car, and suddenly they said, oh yeah, by the way, that was only 3 years, it was free, now you have to pay €8 a month to get that, so you cannot even use that specific startup thing or whatever on your key fob if you're not pay. Everything is subscription. The hundreds of or thousands even of euros that I have to pay yearly now, and it adds up for software that I normally only bought once a time, it's going out of control. It's completely out of control.
It drives people to
exactly. We're going.
They've done it to try and get rid of, make piracy less attractive, but they've made it more attractive because everything's 10 times as much as it used to be.
And it's just like, and I can't pay that anymore. If
you know what's coming next? Subscription Lego.
If you don't pay, they come and take your bricks away. Yeah.
They come and take your bricks.
Speaking about Lego, so it's investing in the right Lego boxes is a better investment than investing in gold.
Oh,
I saw that, yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Well, maybe
that's a topic next week.
So we have to cut off this
because we have to.
show because I have to buy
another thing is that Oscar and I have on order the Zandvoort edition of Max's is Red Bull, and I just saw that Mini Champs has now pre-order on it. 1/18 scale, and I don't know if you also want one, Chris, because we could make it 3, obviously. Yeah. Okay. There's one guy that has a miniature car shop, and he was gonna take care of that. So he hasn't answered me yet, but I'm gonna ask 3. And if he can't make sure that we get 3, then I'm gonna pre-order them, or we have to do something on the Minichamp side. But we'll work on that. Okay, that's cool. That's very, very cool. Okay, excellent. Great. Oh yeah, by the way. Yeah, I didn't wanna. It's in. I didn't have much time, but now it's black, and it's gonna be like aluminium, and then we're gonna play it. But it came out pretty well in one ASCII, so that's another thing. Anything we have already overshot our time 10 minutes, so with only talking about Formula 1. So thanks all for watching. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, whatever you need to do on YouTube these days, and all those things. And we will are very happy to see you next week, and we will find something to talk about. Yeah. So thanks everybody.
Yeah, we can talk about the coffee machine. Oscar, you need the camera on.
Exactly. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. Well. No.
Do the live stream.
Maybe I have some unboxing to do next week.
I want to.
I heard the package is on the move.
Oh, we are very, very, very excited.
We have at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's
now
such a big
98 days to the next.
That's a long. It's short actually, but for us it's very long. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you all next week. Tuesday, 8 o'clock every week. Bye bye.